This video contains spoilers for Spider-Guy across the Spider-Verse, beware. So recently in this new movie, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called Spider-Guy Across the Universe. People are speculating that one of the characters in this movie is trans, specifically the co-lead. Hi, by the way, my name is King Exbee, welcome to my second channel. I don't know. So the co-lead, Gwen Stacy, otherwise known as Spider-Gwen, otherwise known as Spider-Woman, is speculated to be transgender in this storyline. Now, if you watch the movie passively and you didn't pay attention, you might not think that this is a very valid argument, but it's not something that's coming out of nowhere. Now, number one, Gwen has a trans flag in her room that specifically says protect trans kids, and it gets a decent amount of screen time, decent amount being like 5 seconds, but still, there's a lot of screen time dedicated to it. People have also speculated that, her story is actually pretty trans-coded because it's about coming out to your parents. In this case, it's about being a superhero, but people have likened that to a trans metaphor. Also, the colors of her universe and her uniform are the colors of the trans flag, pink, white, and blue. So again, it's not coming out of nowhere, and people have been speculating this, and people have been saying, it's confirmed, or it isn't confirmed, and there have been a lot of nasty arguments, which is never fun, so I just want to answer the question, do I personally think Gwen is trans? No. And it's for a few very specific reasons. For one, the choice dialogue that they use for Gwen, just a few of them, do kind of read into it like they weren't planning this around a trans character, if that makes sense. After seeing the movie about, 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the theater, I can safely say that more than one people refer to her as man or dude in this scenario, and viewing this from a company's perspective, I know from what I understand, most trans people don't care if, call them that. Just speaking strictly from a company's perspective, I just can't see Sony looking at this and going, oh yeah, we want our trans character to be referred to as dude or man, if that makes sense. Speaking of which, that's another point I want to bring up against this, the company. Now look, it's no secret that big companies bad, yeah, I know, shocking. They would never, ever in a million years make a character LGBTQ coded if they weren't getting something out of it. I'm sure you're more than aware that most of the foreign markets are where a lot of big movie companies like Sony make their money. And so they wouldn't give up their movie money-making opportunities in China for, a single trans character, as horrible as that sounds, unless they were getting something out of it. If Gwen was going to be trans, they would have gone all the way with it because they want to make headlines. They want it to be a big deal. Having the first transgender superhero character is a big deal to them, and it's all for like incredibly selfish and fucked up reasons. So I really just can't see them transcoding the story and then not delivering it on it all the way. The last point I want to touch on is going to kind of shit all over the last point I just made, but the creative directors of this movie actually seem to give a shit. Like Phil Lord, Chris Miller, the casting decisions are all incredibly specific. What I mean by this is Peter Parker was casted 4 times, and all 4 times he was casted, he was correctly casted as a Jewish male. This is something they didn't touch on at all. There's a few select references to Peter Parker being Jewish in the movies, but like, there's no reason that they needed to cast Peter Parker as a Jewish man every single time, but they did. And I understand making the main Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker, a Jewish lead, but the Peter Parker who dies in the first 30 minutes of the first movie, the fucking pig Peter Parker, the clone of Peter Parker, is cast as a Jewish lead. They genuinely care. Like, one time I can see that, like, okay, studio mandation or, quote-unquote forced diversity. I hate that fucking term, but you get what I'm saying. 2 times, like, okay, they're really throwing a bone. They show that they care. 3 times, that's like, oh, okay, they get it. They understand Spider-Man. 4 times? That's, come on. At that point, you cannot deny that they genuinely give a shit. Sunspider, who shows up for literally 5 to 10 seconds in the new movie and has about 3 lines, she is cast and voiced by an actual a handicapped person. They do actually care that every single person is properly represented. And so it just doesn't make sense to me to have their co-lead be a trans woman and not have them voiced by a trans woman. I don't know. I just doubt that the team who correctly casted Peter Parker Jewish 4 times and so far has gotten every single casting down perfectly just wouldn't do it for one of their main characters. It just doesn't make too much sense to me. Okay, so now I've gone through all the points and the reasons why I think Gwen Stacy wouldn't be trans. However, let's say I am completely wrong about all of this. Am I going to care if they reveal that Gwen Stacy is trans in the next movie?
What? No.
I really just don't give a shit if I'm wrong about this or not because, well, one, I'm a cis-het male. I was never going to connect to this character in that way. And two, now I know this is gonna shock a couple of you watching, but Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, is not real, is not a real person, and I got better shit to do than worry about a character's sexuality or gender orientation. My bitch ex-wife Sharon left me, and now I gotta take care of these 9 little shits all on my own, alright? And if she's trans, do you know who that affects negatively? Exactly, nobody. Like I said, she is not a real character. It doesn't matter if she ends up trans. Nobody is affected negatively. It's not brainwashing your kids. It's not being shoved down your throats. Literally nothing bad happens if Spider-Gwen, the character, is trans. As a matter of fact, it's actually probably kind of a positive thing if Spider-Gwen ends up being trans, because I've been looking through Twitter and just seeing the amount of young trans and queer kids connecting with Gwen. Honestly, it's incredibly heartwarming. And look, man, I am a shit-headed asshole. It is so hard to make me happy. But seeing the amount of kids who, even though it's not confirmed yet, just the simple idea of Gwen being trans just meaning so much to them, man. It warms my cold, bastard, lifeless heart. I can't deny that. So yeah, go ahead and make Gwen Stacy trans for all I care. If the outcome is a bunch of young queer kids feeling seen and a bunch of senile old men on the fucking internet being all whiny and pissy about it, then go ahead, prove me wrong, prove everybody wrong. I would love to see that. And yeah, that's all. So I kind of want to use this channel more for unscripted content, as you could probably tell from this video. So if anything comes off a little rambly, I'm sorry, I guess. But other than that, you know, bye.